the way this went down was, as I do with everything, I figure it out and then I bring it to investors, right? So this property here that we're in, I came with a group, we saw a bunch of properties. This property was available after everybody else purchased theirs, and it turned out to be a good deal. So what I did was I came up with a plan, because my plan is to get as many investors involved in buying as much properties as possible. And I brought the plan to my dad first, right? And I showed him the plan of this first one, and he said, don't show this to any other investors. We're gonna do this together, right? So part of what we started to do is, you know, start to figure out, okay, how do we want to do this, right, as a father-son thing, but then also how to teach other people to do it, right? Like, at the end of the day, you could be doing this with your family members, right? Like, it's not that crazy. I mean, it is, yeah, and you'll see from everything that we talk about, but the idea of, and it's something I spoke about in my podcast, about creating your own family office, right? So when my dad has been an entrepreneur for many years, and, you know, I'll let him tell you his story, but when I brought him the opportunity, he was thinking like an entrepreneur. He said to me, don't take it to the investors. Let me and you learn on the first one that we do in this new model that you're thinking about, because if you're wrong, you don't want to be wrong with investor money. So that's the kind of support people like me need, right? And I'm lucky enough to have a father that understands that and has the resources to join me and make this happen and not have to go all in and risk, right? But at the same time, groups of family members could do the same thing, right? If, let's say this property was 100K and you get 5 family members to give 20, that's pretty good. You guys each get 20% of the profit every month, right? Or if you could get the whole thing in one shot, you could do it yourself, right? You could even take a loan, right? So I want you to talk about, you know, first your history in construction and what you do for a living, right, and why it makes sense to you to do stuff like this, right? So talk about your history. What's your, like I do on my show, what's your superhero origin story? What'd you start out doing, and then how'd you get to what you do now?
Well, I started, when I was younger, I was delivering false teeth for a lab. And when I used to sit around and wait for the deliveries to be ready to take out, I used to walk around the whole lab and look at all the departments. And then, you know, after a while, I went into like the first department, and I learned how to run that department. Then I went to a second department. My belief is that when you get into something, you have to learn it from A to Z, because if you jump in and like you get some, like you're gonna have clients, right? And if you start taking in a lot of work, and then one of the people that you hired, that you highly depend on, die, quit, anything could happen. You have to be able to back that up, because it's going to mess up your clientele, it's going to mess up everything. So you have to know every phase. You don't have to be an expert, but you have to know every phase, and you have to have backup.
They call that know enough to be dangerous. And what that means is you are able to speak to people that can't really, you know, lie to you about what it takes to do it. And, you know, I've taken that in my businesses for sure. And that's part of why I came out here and did this myself. We could have paid someone else to do this, but I wanted to see the process myself so I can scale a business around it, right? So it all comes from learning from this.
So when I was younger, maybe I was about 18 years old. I'm going to plug somebody. When I was 18 years old, I used to go to seminars. And I went to the seminar and I heard this guy called Les Brown. He's a black guy. And they used to pay him a lot of money to speak. Big companies used to pay him a lot of money to speak to their workers. And he was called a motivator. He would talk to you about motivating. And so he would say that when you're going to do a job, you do more than what you're supposed to. You don't like it. You don't just stand around. If you did your job and there's nothing to do, you look for things to do. And again, like I told you, in the job itself, there's a lot of phases. if you're doing a certain phase and you have nothing to do, look for another phase that's important in the job and start helping those people. And again, it's important because what happens is that if the business is going out of business and they have to get rid of somebody, even if they don't like you, they can't get rid of you because you're important to the money making. It don't have nothing to do with personality. You could be the biggest asshole. But when it comes to money, the money's important. And they can't get rid of you. Even they'll have to get rid of a family member before they get rid of you because they're gonna go out of business.
Valuable to the business.
Yeah, you're valuable to the business. You make yourself valuable to the business.
100%. And yeah, definitely, you heard me speak about that a lot. So okay, so you were in the dentist spot. You learned from delivering. You learned how to actually make teeth.
I learned every phase of making teeth. I opened a lab with a partner.
What age were you?
I probably was about 24 by the time I opened the lab. And then, one of the reasons why, in the long run, we had to get out of the labs is because just like Walmart took out a lot of small businesses, they started making these labs in California, in Florida, that were making the work for practically nothing. So we couldn't compete with those prices. We couldn't compete with the speed. We couldn't compete with the prices because they would get all the material in bulk and at cheap prices so they could give it.
And that's happening. That's happening right now.
That's going to happen everywhere.
It's going to keep happening. And automation is going to make that harder and harder. So like the companies that can afford a robot and you got to pay people, how you compete with that?
So when I was about getting to be 42, I decided I got to get out of this because it's not making the kind of money that it was making before. I already had my house. I had a lab in my house, but still it wasn't making enough money. So I had to move to something else.
You have to make a decision and leave entrepreneurship, basically.
Right. So I went into union carpentry, which was not easy to get into. And at age 42, I was doing carpentry, lifting sheetrock.
I'm about to be 42.
Lifting sheetrock, I'm talking carpentry is no joke. The kind we do is heavy work. And at 42, I got into that. No complaints because they make good money, good benefits and everything. I never liked really having a job and working for somebody. I prefer to work for myself, but sometimes you have to do it. And getting close to my retirement age. I don't plan on retiring because in today's time, it's no good. You can't retire because everything keeps going up and the kind of money you're going to get is not going to sustain you. So this is why I'm doing this with my son.
Yeah, so the idea was, I came to him and I told him, look, right now while you are able-bodied, able-minded, we can partner and I can help you create, because of course any family wants to leave stuff to the next generation and stuff like that. He always talks about, I want to leave stuff to my grandchildren. But what I've been saying to him is, okay, but if you can't reach your end of life and be able to cover your bills, you're not going to be able to, leave anything to anybody, right? So what I've been saying is, right now, while you are a carpenter still, you're still in good shape, and your mind is right and all that, you gotta have, right now, we gotta work together, and we gotta grow this as big as we can, because who knows what can happen. Look, then COVID hits, right? And I'm lucky still to have my dad. I know a lot of people that lost their fathers and mothers from COVID, right? So we said, all right, even in COVID, we're going to take the risk. We're going to come out here and we're going to try to finish this and rent it, because everybody that has something here right now that I told you that bought before us, they're renting and they're making money. And it's not only about making money, right? Like, we wouldn't risk our lives just to make money. The real trick is, the sooner we start this, the sooner it can benefit him and me and my kids and
we could jump on to another project.
And we could do another one, right? So, like, at the end of the day, this week, 7 days we've been here. Today's the 7th day. He leaves in a few minutes. Actually, the cab that's taking him is calling me right now. We have been working the entire 7 days. We just got in the water this morning for the first time together in the ocean. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So part of what we're going to set up is a way where other people do this. I definitely will not be. But I'm looking at it to create a system where people can pay, unless they want to come and do all this crazy stuff, like they can. This is my 6th time, I think, coming. This is his first. But it's work. You know, you got to fly back and forth, check things and all that. And if you like doing that, it's cool. It's not a bad place to come, though, right? Like, it's a very nice place. So it might be a thing where it's like, hey, I got to take a vacation, go to my place that I'm setting up to rent. And when I'm not there, I can make money, right? You could. And I have one guy here who, he doesn't even have to rent it that much. Actually, everybody here, they don't have to rent it if they don't want to, right? There's a lot of people that have vacation homes and just have it. But the opportunity of making money, because you can't live here unless you want to, and that's just another option. You can if you want to. So that's another benefit of doing this. I've spoken about this many times. There's an investor I watch on YouTube, actually, where he says, I've invested everything. Hedge fund, he used to invest stocks, whatever, bonds, everything. He's never seen something like investing right now in vacation properties. Never. He said he took out all his money from other things and he put it all in this because it's such a great opportunity. So I've been telling my dad, I've been telling a bunch of people this. I've been making content around it. But today's, I've been, like, since he's leaving, I wanted to kind of get his thoughts, because he is kind of like the template, right? Like, I came to him and me and him did this together. I might be in most of the deals, but I'm not going to be as much in the deal as this one, right? So maybe, but my goal is to not to be. My goal is to set up a system where as many people as want to can be in as many properties as they want. If I like one, I'll invest in it too. But I'm going to have the company that houses all of it, right? So I'll be involved in everything in either way. But when I think about like what he just experienced, he is also a carpenter though. So he was able to, when we're working, he's like, well, I can do this. I can do this one. I can do that. And he enjoys it. But he enjoys it a little too much because we ain't going enough to the beach. But at the end of the day, he enjoys that. So I was able to save some money there. We were able to save some money on some things that he probably could have done himself. But some things he did, some things he didn't, right? So at the end of the day, that could be you could like doing stuff like that or not. But the real truth of this opportunity is the economy is about to go down. And in places like this, we're in the Dominican Republic, one of the poorest places in the world, there's going to be opportunity to buy property. Be pretty close to the beachfront, right? But then what do you do with that property? How do you set it up? How do you maintain it? That's where I'm going to create a business around. Because anybody can go and find a property and buy it. You're going to pay the top dollar though. Here we're starting to get in-grounds into the community to get the best deals. And that's where you come to a place. Part of what me and all my partners have been discussing is we come in, we lay our ground, we put our ear to the street, get all the best deals, and then bring them. And then say, all right, let's set it up and let's run them. Or if you want to run them yourself, you run it yourself. So,
and this is a secluded area that people from the big Santo Domingo, what's the other place? Santiago. They come over here to get away from the craziness over here because it's hours away from the airport.
It's a 2-hour drive.
2-hour drive from the airport. But it's worth it because you're away from the craziness. Even now, today with COVID, there's less COVID in this area because of that.
There's like 18,000 people in this town. So it's like nowhere near. More people have died in New York City than are lived in this town. So it's definitely not going to have as much COVID. People are fearful of that right now, but it's definitely not the case. So what do you think people that are in the mindset you were in about, okay, I'm about to retire, or even I want to start creating multiple revenue streams pretty much. What advice would you tell someone that's just starting to think that and to get them to this point? Any ideas?
To be honest with you, like I was thinking of taking my money to buy like a house to rent to people, and with what happened with COVID, that's kind of dangerous now because everybody's losing their jobs. If you get an apartment, the difference between here is you're gonna probably double what you make. If you buy a house and you rent it to somebody, all right, they're paying off your house. But over here, you're practically gonna be able to get double what you get without the headaches, because remember,
double monthly, he means.
Yes.
Like, because if you rent it to a person and you give, and actually I'll give you an example. Right now, my partners here are doing about $2,000 a month of renting. But if somebody rents this for the whole month, they pay $675, something like that. So think about that. And that's the same idea if you do it in New York, if you do it anywhere else, Jersey, Florida. When you rent to someone, it's wholesale versus retail, right? They're buying a whole year from you, so they pay less. But if you do retail and you do per night, like a hotel, you make a lot more money. Actually, probably more than double. In that case, it's triple, right? In that case, it's triple.
Right now, it's a little low because of COVID.
Actually, this location is not though.
Yeah.
This location, because again, we did our research. We knew that this location is the top location in the Dominican Republic for people that like luxury and like to be away from everything else. Before COVID, we were here figuring it out. When COVID hit, now the searches on Airbnb are up 200% for this location. So it's getting more traffic because of COVID than it was before. And of course, once COVID's over and everybody wants to travel, the Dominican Republic is the cheapest flight from New York or America. Well, New York. It's cheaper than going even to Puerto Rico. So this is going to be a place where people are going to want to go. And then when you're here, it's less money to enjoy the location.
You get more for your money.
Everything is cheaper, right? So at the end of the day, that's why we started with Dominican Republic, because we knew we could have went to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, we're Puerto Rican. We can go anytime. We have one. Actually, my parents and my family have a house in Puerto Rico that I've been trying to get them to put on Airbnb. But since it's a whole family thing, I didn't want to deal with it, so I haven't. But with this one, me and my dad said, we're going to do it. We don't going to ask anybody anything, and we're just going to go and show everybody how it's done, and then everybody's going to want to do it, right? So that's part of why I'm creating this content today, because I want you guys to start thinking about this, because of course I'm going to bring some deals, but you can go off and do it yourself, and I'm going to actually create content around showing you how to do it too. If you want to go out and take that plunge and deal with it, do it. I did it. You know, we did it, and now we'll show you the ride. So any final words for anybody that you can think of that, you know, like you just said, you were about to try to spend money, like buy.
I believe that if you're thinking of buying a house to rent, this is a better deal, because at the end, you're going to be over there. This is going to be over here. We're going to have people running this. All the headaches. All right, they'll be calling us, telling this and that, but you'll say, do this and do that, because
and even
if
that,
you have the house, every time they call you, you got to jump in your car, go to the house and try to get it fixed. This is different. You ain't going to jump on an airplane to come over here to get it fixed. You're going to have people here fixing it for you. And that's you know, the best thing. If you got to get up when you have the houses next to you, the headaches are next to you. Some
investors think the opposite, though, right? Like I've spoken to investors in my network. They're like, "Oh, I would never do that. I would never have a property I couldn't go see myself." But what I saw was it's just like entrepreneurship. Actually, to take it full circle, as a CEO, you have to create systems that you can't do all that work. So you have to force yourself. Like he said, I learned how to do all this stuff so I can have other people do it. So I've done that in technology too, right? I used to code, design, animate all the pieces. Then when I would have someone else do it, I stay away from the work, and I could go off and be here today while projects are being done.
Or
right?
working on other stuff.
Or working on other stuff. So this allows that opportunity. Because it is remote, you have to start thinking, how can I not be involved? And that's the systems that I'm building for this and our partners. But at the same time, you could want to be involved. You'll make more money, sure, if you are involved, and every time there's a problem, they're calling you. But some people don't want that. Like a lot of our investors, they don't want to deal with that. So yeah, so you're right about that.
And you could call this place, it's gonna be like we're setting it up on automatic pilot. All right, it's automatic pilot. It's going to be running itself. All right, every now and then you're going to get a phone call and everything, and you're going to have to...
You have to pay money.
Yeah, you'll pay money because something has to be... But that's everywhere.
Every investment.
Everywhere.
Every investment.
Everywhere, yeah. So, but I'm telling you, this is like, I think the best way to go. It's true, but when it comes to owning property.
Yeah, so this is why the guy says, the hedge funder says, this is the best opportunity. He says because one, like he said, you make more per month. 2, you have places in beautiful places that you want to visit yourself. And 3, the property value can't come down because they're in great places. It can only go up because most people, no matter what economy, people vacation. And you can see right now, we're in probably the worst ever. And a place like this
is an Italian, French.
Oh yeah, and this location, this part of the Dominican Republic is very European. There's French, Italian, of course there's local Dominicans, but everybody knows this in Europe as one of the nicest places to come in the Caribbean for them. So that's where, you know, once I saw that and I saw all the other things, I was like, all right, this is a great opportunity. Let me bring it to people. And there's more. We have more right now. It's more about let's figure out the template, let's figure out how the system works, and then go from there. Of course, if you want to come down to Las Terrenas and check it out yourself, you can. You can. There's definitely properties, you'll see them. But for instance, this property I got, I probably got it for half the price that they would have listed at.
Saludos.
So, un momento, yo 12. 12. Tell them it was supposed to be 12, right?
A las 12, ¿verdad? ¿Qué hora es?
Ok, sí.
Dame un minuto, ¿ok?
Sí, perfecto, ok.
Okay, gracias. See, we move.
So,
So yeah.
that's my ride to
Yeah.
the airport. I have to leave.
yeah. So we're working right up to the end.
Yeah.
But I'm staying to finish it because it's about 60%
It's
done.
gonna be
And I'm not
operational.
leaving here until it's able to be rented. So that's how we partner and we work together. And I have teams. I'm actually meeting with the team right after this to explain how we need to scale this, because as more people and many of you have been hitting me up like, all right, how can I get involved in what you're doing in DR? So I am setting up the team right now and saying, look, when this happens, this is what you do, this is what you do, but I need you to do this and that this way, right? So I'm setting that up from now. I'm leaving probably next
That's
Sunday.
the automatic pilot part.
That's not right. And you could come and do it yourself, or you could just work with us.
That's it.
But again, thank you for watching. Please like, please subscribe. And my dad, I convinced him to start making content.
I'll be making content soon.
Yeah. When you guys can learn from the guy I learned from. And thank you for watching again, and innovate every day.
Innovate. And get my shit.